Happy Valentine's Day, sister. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's all take a breath. Woo! Ah, there's a lot of energy on this day. There's a lot of history on this day. There's a lot of experiences I know you've had on this day. When you think about your life, you might be looking back and going, oh, if I could only have that peace again, or that love again, or that sweetness again, or, oh, I don't want to be alone again. I don't want to have that crap again. I don't want to, wherever you are, well, you have today. And every day, of course, you could use what I'm about to share with you every single day, because this is tips for love. And I want to just offer you, firstly, that Valentine's Day is about you and your heart. Valentine's Day is about connecting to your heart and filling up your heart. And there's just so much to it, right? There's so much to it around the expectations or the hopes and the dreams of somebody giving to you, showing up for you, having someone to share it with. That may or may not be your truth today. And whether you have somebody in your life or maybe you're solo, I offer to you that the most exquisite Valentine in your Valentine's Day is you. And I am going to encourage you to find the sweetness today for you. And with that, a quick story. I remember when I was married, there was a Valentine's Day. And of course, back then, I didn't know how to express my desires, my needs. I didn't have within me the ability to say, hey, what are we doing for Valentine's Day? There was the story in my mind that said, he's going to do something. He's going to show up. He's going to make something special happen for me. And of course, that's a setup if somebody's not necessarily good at that. Not everybody's great at planning. Not everybody can show up for you. And so this is kind of a metaphor for every friggin' thing in your life, those expectations of what you think other people can do for you, how they're going to show up for you. And then you're kind of left going, what the fuck happened, right? Well, one Valentine's Day, I remember waking up and the hours were going by, the hours were going by, the hours were going by. And I was noticing, I don't have any flowers. I don't have a card. I don't have any plans. What's going on? I give and I give and I give and I give. How can I have nothing on Valentine's Day? This was a long time ago. And I remember the deep disappointment. I remember feeling so unseen and so unloved. And I think it was about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I just looked at my husband at the time and I was just like, I don't get it. And I like lashed into him. Back then I didn't know how to have good communication. I didn't know how to share my heart without pointing a finger and blaming and having huge conflict. I just looked at him and I said, I don't get it. It's Valentine's Day. And, I'm feeling whatever I said. All I would say, I'm sure I laid some big stuff down saying, what the fuck, no flowers, no candy, no plans. Wah. And then anything that came after, I didn't really give a shit about, to be really honest, because I feel like I led him to give to me. Do you ever feel like that? Like once you tell somebody what you want, what you need, and then they do it, you're kind of like, if they only did it on their own, but now it doesn't matter. And yet, we'll talk about that in a second. And so he did show up for me that day, and it wasn't the way I wanted him to show up. He eventually went out and got me flowers, and the voice in my head was thinking, well, I said I wanted flowers, like, where are my flowers? He made plans for dinner later in the day, made reservations for dinner. And my voice was, see, he didn't plan for me. He didn't think about me. And it was a really sucky Valentine's Day. And then, of course, as the years went on and I learned how to have good communication, which is so key to be able to share my heart and say, hey, can we talk about Valentine's Day? And to share what was going on between my years around feeling like I was forgotten, feeling like that I wasn't special, owning that that was what was going on inside of me back then. And what I really, really want moving forward, I was able to share that with him. Bottom line is, I'm not with him anymore for lots of reasons. And now I know better. I know not to have expectations, but to have curiosity of how things are going to show up. I know to have those conversations with my beloveds to say what I desire or want. And I have plans for Valentine's Day. I have plans for tonight. And I still have the curiosity. And um, and it takes some risk to open up your heart to say, this is what I want. So I have a guy, and we're going to have a beautiful night tonight, whatever it is. What I offer to you is you may not, and you might be going solo, or you may, and you might have some expectations. So I'm going to invite you first to look at your expectations and see what you have control over and what you don't have control over. What you don't have control over, you have choice. You can surrender to the fact that you have no control over it and be in that curious place of what's showing up. Or you could say, hey, honey, if you're seeing somebody, I really would love to know what our plans are tonight. Can we talk about it? Because I would love to have something special happen, and kind of test it out and make sure that you're not left feeling like I felt years ago. Now, being in my tribe, following me, my guess is you're probably solo, or in that weird place of you don't necessarily have a date just yet. And so this is really important. I mentioned the word sweetness before, and I'm going to invite you to ask yourself, what is sweet in your life? Where do you bring in sweetness into your life? Now, years ago, when I was 200 pounds, sweetness was a lot of sugar. And you might choose to buy yourself some chocolates consciously. And if you do, pick some really good chocolate out, sister, and enjoy every bite. Now, I want to add to that, which is there's a lot of ways to make yourself feel special on Valentine's Day, many ways to have sweetness in your life. That could be getting a beautiful massage oil and massaging your naked, gorgeous body. That might mean taking yourself out to dinner, or maybe not on Valentine's Day, because that can really trip you up. Let me warn you about that, because if everybody's coupled and you're not in your right mind and you're not really knowing how to love yourself up, that can hurt. So maybe test that around. Like, do you really want to go out? Maybe you could ask yourself, what would be the most delicious food to nourish your heart, to give to yourself? How would you like your environment to be tonight? Do you want to play some beautiful music? What's your favorite music? Maybe you create an altar or a beautiful place in your bedroom, and you create this delicious sensual experience for yourself to give to yourself and make yourself the most important Valentine ever. I invite you to take a moment and ask yourself, how do you want your Valentine's Day to be? And then to practice this on a regular basis, because at the end of the day, every day is about love, 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 loving yourself, love, 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 loving each day, each moment. So, sister, look at your expectations of yourself and others. Be kind to yourself. Communicate your needs to others. Communicate to yourself what you desire. And then take some steps forward in creating a wonderful, spectacular Valentine's Day, because you can do it. You have a choice. I mean, the reality is you have a choice. You could sit there and eat unconsciously, like I did years ago, feeling bad, having the pity party. Trust me, I've been there. And I wasn't conscious for my pity party. All the chips and all the dips and all the crap. It was just watching mindless TV. And that was a choice. And all I was left with was extra weight, extra bloat, extra feeling like shit the next day, and way more lonely, way more empty. And that is a choice. You could go with that old default pattern of the poor me, the victimized, no one's here for me, no one's going to love me. You could also love that part that's feeling alone and feeling kind of like the victim in a healthy way. Yes, you could be victimizing yourself and making you go, you're such a loser, you don't have anyone. Or you could say, oh, honey, I know you're hurting. I know that you're alone again on this Valentine's Day and you're feeling kind of left out. Let's do something special. honoring that part that's feeling lonely, and then making a choice of how you want to give to yourself. So that's my Valentine's message for you today. Love, love, love yourself up. Give to yourself in all the most delicious ways and make it a sweet Valentine's Day, because you can do that for yourself. Lean in to the Find Fabulous Love Facebook group. If you're not in that group, look in the link below and in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, and join us in the Find Fabulous Love in Facebook, because that's where the sisters lift each other up and support each other and post things. You don't have to do this alone. You don't. Put some comments or questions below. I love to see that, and I can support you in that way. And if you're here for Tips for Love Tuesday in the Find Fabulous Love group, I'm going to invite you to post something that can lift one of your sisters up. What might you want to hear? What might you want to tell yourself to have you feel better? And post it for one of your sisters in this group. And then love each other up. Let's have a love fest. All right. Mwah. Happy Valentine's Day.